Just some quick stats about our district. You know, we are the 10th largest in the country. Our annual budget with all funds, capital, debt, general fund operating, is just hit $4 billion for the first time this year. We've got over 22,000 full-time employees, so we're the largest employer in Palm Beach County. Our graduation rate hit 94.4%, and that's, yeah, that was pretty darn good. We've been in the 90%. We got a little bit of a boost last year because the state eased back on some of the state testing requirements, which cut some of our students a break and allowed them to graduate. So it'll be tough to keep it at 94%, but we've always been in the low 90s, and we continue to work to get even higher. You'll see some technology information on there. That was a big part of last school year, of course. We had, thanks to the sales tax, we had already started down the road of rolling out these interactive smart panels that came with the cameras and the microphones. And in fact, I got Dr. Miller here today he was charged of ed technology at the time. But one of the things we asked Dr. Miller to do was we said, hey, we had to finish up that work right before the pandemic. And we said, you need to get them all rolled out. And we jumped in, the vendor helped us out, and we have now every classroom, early on in the start of last school year, had that interactive panel, which was critical to distance learning. Then we bought 80,000 Chromebooks. We got those rolled out, you know, to start the school year. It went into a little bit of a month, but we made sure every student had a computer, and you know, that was vital at that point. So again, the referendum paid off and did some good things. The other part, which really made it painfully obvious about the pandemic, was the digital divide in our county. We found when we finished the spring of the 2020 school, the 2020 school year, we found about 25,000 kids could not connect online just because their families didn't have it in their homes. So we partnered with Comcast, and we provided free Comcast Essentials at the district's expense. We bought T-Mobile hotspots, and we deployed those to our students. And then the county was very gracious. They utilized some of their stimulus funds to help us create a Wi-Fi mesh network. And they've put in over $10 million to this project. When this is complete, it'll serve 25,000 students that are in need of internet service. So this is a permanent fix. This will just be great. All right, you may have heard we've been having a little discussion about masks in Palm Beach County. Everyone hoped when we finished last school year we were getting back to normal. COVID fatigue has hit us all, and that's where our mindset was at. The transmission rate was low, the incidence rate was low, and unfortunately, as the summer progressed, the Delta variant kind of wreaked havoc on our best plans. And so our school board was faced with a very tough decision as of late. And with the rise in cases in our community, up over 18% positivity, we are seeing children, unfortunately, go to the pediatric wards of the hospitals. And the board did what they felt like they had to do to protect our students and staff, and went ahead and made that tough decision. So thank you, school board. So I appreciate the round of applause. I think that's very representative of what I've heard around the community, and that most people seem to understand this decision. There's at least a couple gentlemen in Tallahassee that probably like to punch me in the nose right now, but that's okay. We're not alone in this. We've got now 8 school districts across the state representing over 1 million plus students, and I suspect you may see a few more large districts kind of go that route just to err on the side of safety and an abundance of caution. All right, so we have a COVID dashboard that we keep up to date just so the community can kind of weigh in and see what's going on in our schools. We had a couple little bumps. We're working with our schools. They are under a tremendous burden, administrative burden, to keep track of this. The principals are becoming almost like contact tracers now in our schools. So if a kid tests positive, they have to look through their schedule, figure out who is within 6 feet for 15 minutes, and then provide those lists, notify parents. And so it has been a lot of work. We're trying to get them more support. But as of yesterday, we had about 1,400 cases in our schools, and 1,234 of those cases were students. The rest were staff. And unfortunately, the numbers keep going up. We've had to send home about 5,600 students. And we're just doing everything we can to try to minimize that number. The one thing I can share is very positive, and we've ironed out some of our processes, that if a student is 12 or older, and they've had the vaccine and they're not showing any symptoms, we can avoid disrupting their learning and keep them in the classroom. So we're highly encouraging vaccinations. The mask, we're hoping, will help spread some of the transmission, slow down that, protect the kids. And then we're also working to improve. We are sending home to schoolwork with kids that get quarantined, and we're making homework help available. We've got teachers working extra hours, and a lot of our teachers are now generously volunteering to turn on their camera so those students at home can kind of view into their classroom and catch up on those lessons. This is, I'm not going to go through this whole decision tree, but this was provided to us by the Florida Department of Health. This tells you, how to treat a case, if the student's symptomatic or asymptomatic, what are the rules, when can they get back to school, and this is kind of, I'm not going to try to explain it all, but we must follow these Department of Health guidelines. So sometimes it may be frustrating to a parent, their student gets sent home, they want them back in school, but we must adhere to these kind of time periods to make sure everyone's safe. And then I'd like to thank the healthcare district. We've had a great partnership over the years. We have a nurse in every school. Those nurses are able to do rapid antigen testing if a student demonstrates any symptoms, and that's helping us kind of manage this tough situation as well. The masks get all the attention, but we are doing several things to mitigate this virus. We've got enhanced cleaning. We've added the MERV 13 air filters to our HVAC systems. We've improved ventilation. We just bought 13,000 HEPA filters that have been deployed to our school classrooms. We started with elementary. We'll have all schools covered by the end of August. So that's helping. We have tons of hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes. We're encouraging the kids to wash their hands and, of course, keep the mask on. We have electrostatic sprayers in every school, in our bus compounds. So again, enhanced cleaning. When we know of a case, we make sure we go in and do the best cleaning possible. So all this is helping. And again, last year we were able to get through the whole school year without ever having to close a school. And that's our goal this year, but I can tell you this year is the bigger challenge. We're on our third week of school, and we've had about a third of the cases we had all last school year. So this Delta variant is really trying us, and it's trying our systems. And one of the questions I saw on the agenda when I came in was, what's your biggest challenge? What challenges are you facing? It's manpower. It's keeping in us bus drivers, teachers, substitute teachers, and principals. We've had principals we've had to send home because they've been exposed or contracted COVID. So that's going to be the real challenge, is keeping people safe enough that we can operate this 179 schools, transporting 50,000 kids across the whole 2,300-mile county, feeding millions of lunches and breakfasts every year. That's the challenge. The good news that is we've got some resources now available to address the challenges brought on by COVID-19. You may have heard about President Biden's American Rescue Plan, and prior to that, we had 2 rounds of ESSER funds. So over the next 3 years, our school district has over $500 million of federal dollars to meet our needs brought on by COVID. More than half of that's going to go to address unfinished learning, both academic and social emotional. That's job one, right? And we want to make sure all those resources are there. So we've already started with that. We started with tutorial programs in the spring. We had a much larger, robust summer school program. You can expect large summer programs for the next 3 years. And now we've deployed about 355 specialized teaching positions that are like reading recovery, algebra specialist, graduation recovery teachers for those high schools that are just a few credits shy of graduating. And we really just need to jump in and do everything we can to get kids back up, catch them up, get them back on track. And it starts really with the social emotional. If the student's not feeling well, if they're anxious, they don't feel comfortable or safe on campus, then the learning takes a back seat. So we want a big part of this with our mental health professionals on campuses is first, greeting the kid, look them in the eye, make sure they're okay, and get them supports they need. We've got the resources if we need them, and then get on with the learning. Okay, so test scores. Palm Beach County, we pride ourselves. We're an A-rated district. We're designated as a high-performing school district, which is not easy to attain. And so we compare pretty well to the other urban districts. I just want to give you some general information. In English language arts, we outperformed the state. We held our own. But you know what? What we suspected about COVID-19 and being out of our schools, it did have an impact. On average, our English language arts scores fell about 4 to 5%. At math, again, we're outperforming the state, but I don't really want to celebrate this. We fell about 15% as a nation in math. Math, it turns out, is almost impossible to teach online through a computer. Some kids may, just so bright, and I'm sure they continue to excel. But as a school system and as a state and as a country, kids suffered, and that's why those stimulus dollars are so important. And we've got a lot of work to do to start to remedy this, and it may take a couple of years to get fully caught up. All right, so we got some new standards. We now have the best standards. You may recall a few years back we had Common Core, and then that was changed to the Florida standards. And now we have BEST, which is benchmarks for excellent student thinking. Education loves their acronyms, right? And I think this means we have to buy new books and curriculum. So we're spending millions of dollars on new English language arts textbooks this year. Next year will be math. And I graduated high school in 1985. So I think the standards have probably changed at least a dozen times since that point. And it's amazing I can think at all when you look at, so I'm going to be brushing up on the best standards, make sure I still know how to think and can do math. I'm hoping the new math maybe teaches me a way to bring some more money into the district. Food service, thank you to the federal government. We are able to offer free breakfast and lunch to all our students all year for the upcoming year. And the students that want to buy some extra things a la carte, we have that available. Yes, it's a great thing. And I mentioned mental and behavioral health. We've got those specialists thanks to the referendum. Plus, the ESSER funds are allowing us to ramp up in our contracted providers. We've got great partnerships with agencies across the county that are happy to jump in and lend a hand to any student or family in need. And we also have our Caring First website that Mr. Oswald has done some great work here. He's our Chief Officer of Equity and Wellness, and he is a friend to all students. I can tell you, if anyone's needed help, we can take care of it. All right. There's plenty of ways to stay in touch with us on social media. I personally am not on social media. Thanks to my parents, I have a pretty good sense of humility. So I really don't need anybody else helping me with that on social media, especially in this current environment. But our district and our communications team is very connected. And we'd like you all to follow us and stay in touch. We put out a lot of good information. And with that, I have hopefully I haven't taken too much time. If there's time for questions, Mr. McKenna, I'd be happy to take them.
Michael, thank you so much. Great presentation. We do have time for one or two questions. I think Donald Burgess is walking around brandishing a microphone. In the meantime, I also want to give a special shout out to our friend and mayor, Keith James, who is here with us. Didn't have him on the list. And school board members, Alexandria Ayala, Erica Whitfield. I saw you guys get recognized earlier, so Marsha Andrews, I remember getting you, that's right, because you read the directions and you signed in the sign-in sheet. All right, thank you all very much. Any questions for Mike? Don? There's one in the back. We have one. Okay. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. I'm Betsy Cohen. I have a son who is at Dwyer. And first, thank you so much. I appreciate the board vote recently. And my question really is regarding the online learning or the distance learning, which I'm thrilled he's back in school. But with the number of kids that are out of school and just what you were talking about with math and how difficult it is to learn remotely, is there a conversation about having that as the option for so many students that are out for such a long time right now? Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for this is an excellent question, probably something I needed to address. So last year, the distance learning that we were able to provide, where the teacher was doing kind of dual duties, right, teaching kids in front of them and at home, was made possible by a governor's executive order. And that freed up for us to serve kids in that manner, still get funded, still have the students get credit for that work. That executive order sunset with the end of this last school year, and the governor was pretty clear that he wanted to make sure, try to incentivize us all to get back into brick and mortar education. So that's where we kind of lost that option. But now, as we see more kids getting sent home to quarantine or just be safe, we're trying to do more. We've identified teachers work part-time to provide that kind of homework hotline. We're sending the work home where some teachers are voluntarily turning on their cameras. I am going to be sitting down with the president of our teachers union, Mr. Justin Katz, and trying to brainstorm, what can we do to do more, maybe incentivize more teachers to pitch in. And then I just have to be careful with the state that I don't do anything that jeopardizes that the students don't get recognized for their time. So we're in kind of a trying situation. We're trying to navigate it. I know our teachers, they hurt too when the kids go home, right? They want them to be on track. And so we're kind of struggling through that, but I just wanted the audience to know that that limitation was really kind of prescribed to us by the Department of Education.
Thank you.
Thanks. Great answer. And one more? Oh, Christina.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. I'm so excited that you are our new superintendent right now, and you showed some promising statistics. And while we have a room full of community leaders and business people, I just wanted to ask, is there something that we could do collectively or individually to help support the school district and our students?
Yes, send lawyers, guns, and money, please. No. No. Or just, you can hold the guns, but the lawyers and money might come in handy. But no, your support's been awesome. I don't have an ask of you today. I'm kind of just getting surveying the situation. And we've got the resources, I think, thanks to the federal government. So we just need to execute and keep everyone healthy. So thank you.
Michael, great answer. Surveying the room, I think half of the room here is lawyers, so everybody else can leave. The rest of you lawyers stay behind, and we will pick your pockets. Okay. One more question, if there is one more. Yes, there is, right back in the back left.
Who wants it?
Okay. Okay. Good morning. My name is Debbie Manigat. I'm a proud mother of 2 in Palm Beach County, and I'm so excited that you are here today sharing your plan for the school district. I also represent the Children's Services Council, where our focus is on infant mental health and early childhood education. So I love that you are pushing for mental health and behavioral health. I really want to hear, what's your vision for early childhood education?
So one of the perks of my job was I just got to join the Children's Service Council's board. You know, one of our big benchmarks is 3rd grade reading. And we, with our test scores last year, we kind of treaded water. We held steady at 54%, which is an achievement, I guess, considering all we faced. But recognizing 54% is a pretty staggering statistic. That's nowhere near good enough. Our last 5-year plan that was created in 2016 set an aspirational goal of 75%, and we did not get there. So I really feel like the early childhood learning is going to be the key. Like, we need to back up, you know, and do everything we can from 3 years old, you know, through 3rd grade to try to get students learning and proficient. So I'm excited about our partnership. The Children's Service Council has been great over the years. I think, you know, we have VPK programs that are pre-K programs, but I think that's an area we need to invest. And as we look at how to spend some of these $550 million from the federal government, hopefully we can do things that will help improve early learning at the youngest ages.